I welcome you all in the part 1 video of the infrared spectroscopy. So we are going to start an important topic, that is the infrared spectroscopy, and I hope you remember infrared spectroscopy has one main application, that it will help us to determine the functional group present in a particular structure. Yes, it is a spectroscopy method, so it is helpful in the determination of the structural elucidation, or you can say structural determination of a particular compound. And the main function of the IR is determination of the particular functional group in a structure or a particular compound. So let's start. So basically IR spectroscopy is based upon the simple principles. As we know, it is useful in the determination of the different functional groups, and we know the different compounds or different atoms, they are connected by different bonds. Let's take an example of the carbon and oxygen. Suppose if you have a carbon and oxygen like this, carbon oxygen single bond, and second you have a carbon and again oxygen, they are connected with the double bond. So these bonds are not always fixed or static. So these, as per IR spectroscopy, just assume this line or this bond as a spring. Suppose C is the carbon and the bond is connected like in this way. Suppose I am using different color. In this way, it is just like a spring, and here again O is there. In the same way, this carbon is connected with this oxygen with this bond, or you can say, just assume in your mind that it is a spring, not a bond or not a line. And we know the property of this spring. This spring might go in the opposite direction, okay, and it also might come in this way in similar directions, okay. So these type of vibrations, basically these are known as the different type of stretching and bending, we can say, in between the different molecules or with the different atoms. So hence we can say that a simple oscillation is produced, and in simple words we can say that what is happening here, we can say that it is stretching. The bond is stretched. It can either go away from each other like this way, and it will go towards each other. So thus stretching happening here. So this stretching is always going on, is always in continuous mode in between these bonds. So basically there are two type of vibration. First is the stretching, and there is another type of vibrations known as the bending. So let's see them. For better understanding, I am using a YouTube video from Pharma Digest. So I acknowledge this channel for making this wonderful knowledgeable video. So let's go by this video. So stretching vibration in which the bond length is altered, and there are two type of stretching vibration. Just we can say symmetrical stretching and asymmetrical stretching. So let's see. This is symmetrical stretching in which two bonds increase or decrease in length. So just see the structure of this ethylene molecule. Just see this. I'm just running this video. This is type of vibrations are known as the symmetrical stretching. Increases, decreases, increases, decreases, increases, decreases. See, next type is the asymmetrical stretching. In this, one bond length is increased whereas other is decreased. Just see this. Just see this. Okay, I think this is clear. One is increased and other is decreased. So the second type of vibrations are bending vibration, and these are also the deformation, because in this the bond angle is altered, and there are two types. Basically in plane and out plane, that is scissoring, rocking, okay, and out plane is wagging and twisting. Just see this scissoring. In this, bond angles are decreased. Two atoms approach each other just like a scissor. You have already used a scissor at your home, just like this. This is scissoring. So next is the rocking. In this, the movement of atom take place in the same direction. Just see this video. Just see this. Okay, in the same direction it is moving. Very simple. Just see in wagging. In this, what happened? Two atoms, they move one side of the plane. Okay, they move up and down the plane. Just see this. I'm again running this video. Just see this. In this way, this is the wagging, okay, wagging type of vibration. So next is the twisting. In this, one atom move above the plane and other atom move below the plane. So let me again start this video just this. Okay, now very simple. So let's take an example of a compound, that is formaldehyde, HCHO. So just assume that stretching and wagging is continuously going on here. In this point, there is a stretching going on, and here it is the wagging type of vibration is going on. And these type of vibrations, they are very important because they give us an idea about the functional group they contain. And there are different kind of this vibration, this movement for different type of compounds, different type of functional groups. We have already have a number of, we have complete database of different types of this stretching and vibration. See, suppose these are the IR radiations of a particular hertz. Suppose these are 1 hertz IR radiation we are using, and this is a molecule that we are having, that is formaldehyde. So suppose these are, because we know stretching and vibration, stretching and bending is always going on. So this is, suppose this is connected by a stretching, and it will absorb about 2 hertz of IR radiation. And in this case, here it is, suppose wagging is going on, and this will absorb about 4 hertz of IR radiation. So what happened? But we are giving only 1 hertz of frequency. Then what will happen? This compound, this formaldehyde, will absorb nothing, and the light that is transmitted from this particular compound is 100% emission, because it will absorb nothing. Okay. And if you will plot a graph between the percentage of emission, okay, emittance, and with the frequency, that is IR radiation, and in case of 1 hertz, suppose this is the, I will mark with the red, this is the 1 hertz value, and here it is, you will observe the 100% emittance. So in this way, suppose now in the second case, if we are using now the frequency of the IR radiation 2 hertz, and we know that this, that is the carbonyl group, this is again, this will absorb 2 hertz of radiation. Then what will happen? The percentage of emittance will decrease, and we will, suppose this is the again 2 hertz. So in the emittance, we will show sharp decline. In this way, this is a sharp decline. So the third time, we again change the frequency of this IR radiation, and we will make it up to the 3 hertz. But we know there is no any bond that will absorb this 3 hertz radiation, because we know this will assume, we have assumed it as a 4 hertz. Then again, the transmittance will again show marked decline. Okay, that is 100% emission. And yet another time, if we again change the frequency of this IR radiation up to 4 hertz, and we know this group, basically here is a wagging going on, because we have assumed that it is absorbing the light or the IR radiation of the 4 hertz. Then we will again, suppose this is again 4 hertz here, we will again show marked decline in the graph, and the emittance will again reduce. Okay, so basically this gives us idea about the absorbance, because we know when we use 1 hertz of frequency, there is no absorbance and there is 100% emittance. Okay, but here we can see this is an absorbance. So particularly this absorbance, or you can say this is fixed for a particular bond. Okay, so this will give us an idea about the absorbance, and we can also use this IR spectroscopy for the quantitative estimation. I hope you all are fine and doing well. So let's start the IR spectroscopy series. So in this video, we are going to see some of the important components of the IR spectrophotometer. As you can see, IR spectroscopy is also known as the vibrational spectroscopy, and yes, it is an analytical technique. that take advantage of different type of vibration. We have already covered the stretching and the bending part also. Here is a spectrophotometer. Yes, we have a IR source. The main components are the monochromatic system and the reference and the sample cell along with the splitter, detector and recorder. So just see this one by one. Number one is the IR source. This one I'm talking about, this source. So the IR source, they generally consist of different type of lamps like mercury arc, tungsten lamp, Glauber source, Lorentz Glauber, etc. And we have used different type of sampling substances like solid, liquid and gases. And monochromator generally consists of prism, filters and gratings. Just see this, the monochromator system. These are basically consist of the mirrors like this. The prism part is there, okay. And the next one is a detector. There are different type of detectors used like thermocouple, bolometer, Gole detector and pyroelectric detectors. So here again, this is the detector part. We have different type of detectors like Gole detector are very Lorentz Glauber. These are very commonly detectors that we used. Look at this detector part. Here it is, the Gole detector, you can say bolometer, then pyroelectric detectors are used. Then we have a recorder to record the IR spectrum. Then this is the most important component. There are different type of application, that is the protein characterization, analysis of the gaseous, liquid and solid substances, identification, you can see the quantification of the molecules, qualitative analysis, then the determination of the functional group, okay. Then the to know about the interaction among the molecules, which type of interactions are they having containing. These all are the very important application of the IR spectroscopy. So here we have more applications like identification, purity, structural investigation or structural elucidation, polymorphism and pseudopolymorphism. This is another important application of the IR spectroscopy. Then different interactions of the drugs between drugs and excipients also. We can also go for the quantitative measurements. So yes, it has wide application in forensic science also, and monitoring of degree of unsaturation in polymers, also used as a drug analysis, or you can say quality control in the perfume manufacturing industry. So once again, I have selected this video that is Dr. Pushpendra classes, and I acknowledge Dr. Pushpendra for making this video. This is very important video regarding the IR spectrophotometer instrumentation part. As you can see, there are different type of, I just pause a bit. So let us see this again. This is a IR radiation source, and there are different type of mirrors that we are using just to basically collect our IR light towards a particular or a proper direction. So this is M1 mirror. This is M mirror is used. Again M1 mirror. These are the again M1 mirror. You can see here M2 mirror is used. Then M3 mirror. So there are different type of mirrors are used. Okay, and then we have a reference cell, here it is, and a sample cell, here it is. Then slits are very commonly being used. These are the S1 and S2 slits along with detector, amplifier, which can enhance the signal of the detector, and finally the recorder part is there. So let's see the working now. The IR source basically used the Lorentz Glauber or the nichrome wire on a ceramic spot. This is the radiation source. So after IR radiation, we have mirrors. We have M1 and M1 dash. So these mirrors will help to reflect the IR radiation towards the reference and the sample cell. Now we have a reference cell. In this we generally use the KBR, okay, and we have a sample cell in which we have to put our sample in. And there is another important part, it is a beam chopper. So what will the function of this? It will carry all the radiation, that is the infrared source, infrared radiation towards these mirrors, that is M2, M2 dash and M3. Next, the slits are used and the diffraction grating is used to enhance the resolution of the basically IR spectra. Now after passing through this S2 slit, the radiation will go inside the detector. The detector consists of different types like bolometer, thermocouple, thermistor, Gole detector, or the photoconductivity detector. So just see this video again. So basically, this is the IR radiation source. This is the red color. The IR radiation will go inside this mirror, refract them to the sample as well as to the reference. And sample we use the KBR. So this will pass to the sample without any change in the intensity. Again, this mirror M1 dash will reflect this light infrared radiation towards the sample cell, and some of the sample will absorb the light, and that means the intensity of this light will definitely going to be change. Okay, and after this, this a function of beam chopper is there. The beam chopper will again, it will allow this light, first of all it will allow this light reference cell, and then it will allow the sample cell to pass through this to touch the mirror parts, and these mirror, they will particularly diffract these lights, and they, after the diffraction, they will pass through the slit as well. So first of all, the reference cell will only the pass through the slit one, and the diffraction grating, with the help of this, it will again diffract this ray, and it will pass through the slit S2 and goes to the detector for the particular signal after the amplification process. So in this way, first of all, sample, you can say the reference cell is only reference light or a reference infrared radiation is go inside the detector first case, and then this beam chopper will again, it will allow then the second, or you can say the sample cell or sample radiation, infrared radiation towards the detector. So it will give us both the signals to first the reference and then the sample cell. In this way it will work. So it will just first it block this and it will go inside the detector, and alternatively it will again block this and go inside the detector. So in this way it will work and further amplify the signal, and finally we can determine the our graph with the help of different type of database that is already available, because we know how the compound they will stretch or bend. We have that particular value of the groups, like in this way. Just see this, we have different IR values like alkane 2850 to 2975 absorption. Then intensity is medium to strong. Then alkene is there, alkyne is there. So we already have this database that we have the values of these all functional groups. So we can compare this value with our sample and will easily calculate the functional group. Just in this way, just see this, C triple bond and wave number is 226022 220. Okay, C double bond and is there, C single bond. So it has a fixed value, and we already have these databases available with us. So these are the references I have used. So I hope this will give you a brief idea about the IR spectroscopy. So finally, I acknowledge all the sources I have used, and do not share this video in any other platform. Thank you for your patience and listening.